The story opens in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council on Station Alpha Prime. Representatives from dozens of alien species gather in their floating pods, discussing the newest petition from a small blue planet called Earth. Ambassador Jake Rivers stands alone at the center podium, his simple human appearance drawing snickers from the assembled aliens. The tall, green-skinned Vortons whisper among themselves. The crystalline Nexari flash dismissive colors. The insectoid hive queen clicks her mandibles in amusement. Jake presents humanity's case. Earth requests membership in the Galactic Union and offers a peace treaty. He speaks of humanity's desire for cooperation, trade, and shared knowledge. He mentions Earth's cultural diversity, scientific achievements, and willingness to learn from other species. The council erupts in laughter. High Chancellor Brix, a towering reptilian with silver scales, pounds his gavel. Silence, though this is quite entertaining. His voice booms across the chamber. Little human, Chancellor Brix continues, your species has been observed for centuries. You wage wars over resources, beliefs, and territory. You destroy your own planet. You show mercy to enemies who would kill you. Such weakness has no place among the strong. The Nexari representative, a being of pure crystal named Quarks, chimes in with musical tones. We have seen your military records. You stop fighting when enemies surrender. You provide medical aid to those who attack you. This mercy is foolishness. General Voss of the Vorton Empire, a massive warrior with 4 arms, stands up. In our last conflict with the Drakmor, we showed no mercy. We took their worlds, enslaved their people, consumed their resources. This is strength. This is how civilized species behave. Jake tries to respond, but the council won't listen. They pass around holographic displays, showing human conflicts throughout history, but only the parts where humans showed restraint, gave aid to enemies, or chose diplomacy over destruction. Look at this, laughs Representative Zix from the Hive Collective. During their World War II, they actually provided medical care to enemy prisoners. They followed something called the Geneva Convention, even when their enemies did not. And here, adds another voice, they spend resources feeding populations of conquered territories instead of letting them starve. The mockery continues for hours. They ridicule humanity's United Nations, their disaster relief efforts, their attempts at peaceful space exploration. Every act of human compassion becomes a source of alien amusement. Chancellor Brix finally calls for order. The petition from Earth is denied. Furthermore, this council declares the Sol system under galactic quarantine. These humans are too weak and merciful to join civilized space. They would contaminate our strength with their foolish compassion. Jake's face remains calm, but his jaw tightens. Chancellor, with respect, you misunderstand mercy. It's not weakness. It's a choice made from a position of strength. The chamber erupts in renewed laughter. Strength? Roars General Voss. You barely have faster-than-light travel. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are slow and clumsy. Your entire military could not defeat a single Vorton battle group, adds another voice. Jake nods slowly. You're probably right about our technology, but you're wrong about mercy being weakness. We choose mercy because we know what happens. When we don't, this statement puzzles the aliens. They exchange confused looks and sounds. What does that mean, human? SKS Chancellor Brix. Jake straightens his shoulders. It means that mercy is the leash we put on ourselves. It's not for the enemy's benefit. It's for ours. We learned long ago what we become when we take that leash off. The aliens find this even more amusing. They begin making bets on how quickly humanity would surrender when they inevitably face a real threat. Tell me, human, says Quarks, the crystalline being, what would your merciful species do if someone attacked your precious Earth? Jake is quiet. for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is steady, but somehow colder. We would ask them to stop. More laughter fills the chamber. And if they refused, presses General Voss, we would ask them again. The laughter grows louder. And if they still refused and continued their attack, Jake meets the general's 4 eyes with his 2 human ones. Then we would stop asking. Something in his tone makes a few of the aliens pause, but most continue laughing. They've made their decision. Humanity is weak, merciful, an unworthy dot. As Jake turns to leave, Chancellor Brix delivers the final insult. Return to your little blue world, human. Play with your mercy and compassion. The real powers of the galaxy have work to do. Jake walks toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. Behind him, the council continues their mockery, already moving on to other business. They have no idea what they've just unleashed. 3 months after the council's rejection, humanity's response begins with what appears to be typical human. Mercy and diplomacy. Admiral Lisa Cross sits in her command chair aboard the U's Defiance, humanity's newest deep space vessel. Her fleet of 12 ships hangs in space near the Kepler system, where Vorten raiders have been attacking human research. Stations. Admiral, reports Commander Tom Walsh from the communications station. We're receiving distress signals from Research Station Omega. Vorten ships are demanding surrender and threatening to execute the staff. Cross nods calmly. Open a channel to the Vorten vessels. The view screen flickers to life, showing General Voss's scarred face. His 4 arms gesture dismissively. Ah, the weak humans arrive. Have you come to surrender your station to save a few lives? General Voss, I'm Admiral Cross. I'm asking you to withdraw from this system and release our people unharmed. Voss throws back his massive head and laughs. You ask? How delightfully human. I remember you from the council session recordings. Always asking, always pleading. Well, human, I refuse your request. I understand, Cross replies. Then I'm asking again. Please withdraw and release our people. The general's expression grows. More amused. This is why your species was denied council membership. You repeat the same weak words, hoping for different results. I refuse again. In fact, I think I'll execute one of your researchers to show you the price of weakness. Cross's expression doesn't change. General, I'm asking you one final time. Withdraw from this system immediately. Or what? Voss sneers. You'll file a complaint with the Galactic Council? Send a strongly worded message? Deploy harsh language? No. Cross says quietly. We'll stop asking. Voss laughs again. Empty threats from empty humans. Watch as I demonstrate real strength. He turns to give orders to execute a hostage. The transmission cuts. Cross sits back in her chair and looks at her tactical officer. Lieutenant Blake, deploy the Aurora Protocol. Blake's fingers pause over his console. Admiral, are you certain? Once we activate Aurora Protocol, there's no going back to standard engagement rules. The general was right about one thing, Cross says. We did ask 3 times. Now we stop asking. Deploy Aurora Protocol. Authorization, Cross Alpha 77. Aurora. Protocol deployed, Admiral. Across the human fleet, a change occurs. Ship A is switched from standard combat protocols to something else entirely. Weapon systems that had been locked away come online. Crew members who had been trained in secret receive new orders. The Vorten fleet consists of 8 heavy cruisers, each one larger and more heavily armed than any human ship. General Voss prepares to execute his first hostage when his tactical officer suddenly alerts him. General, the human ships are moving. They're surrounding us. Voss looks at his display with amusement. 12 small ships think to threaten. 8 Vorten cruisers? This will be entertaining. Asterisk, what happens next is not entertaining for the Vortons. The human ships don't fire conventional weapons. Instead, they deploy something the aliens have never seen before. Streams of particles move at near-light speed through the Vorton fleet. The alien ship's shields, designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, offer no resistance. The particles pass through the shields like they don't exist. They pass through the hull armor like it's paper. They pass through everything except living tissue. In seconds. Every Vorton aboard every ship simply ... stops. Their nervous systems shut down instantly. No pain, no suffering, no time to understand. What happened? They just stop. The Vorton ships drift silently in space, completely intact, but utterly lifeless. Admiral Cross opens a channel to the research station. This is Admiral Cross. Are all personnel accounted for? Yes, Admiral. All staff are safe. The Vorton ships just ... went dark. What happened? We stopped asking. Cross replies simply. Human rescue teams board the Vorton vessels. They find the ships completely functional, but every alien aboard dead. The humans carefully document everything, then do something unexpected. They send the ships back to Vorton space with a message. The message is simple. Humanity asked 3 times for peaceful withdrawal. This is what happens when we stop asking. We bear no hatred for your people, but we will defend ourselves. Choose your next actions carefully. General Voss's body is found on the bridge of his flagship, his expression still showing amusement from his last living moment. When news reaches the Galactic Council, they dismiss it as an accident or some kind of technological malfunction. The merciful humans couldn't possibly have weapons capable of such precise lethality, but a few species begin to ask questions. What exactly did the human ambassador mean when he said mercy was a leash they put on themselves? They're about to find out. 6 weeks after the Kepler incident, the Galactic Council receives reports that disturb their certainty about human weakness. The Nexari Collective, beings of living crystal who consider themselves the galaxy's most advanced species, decide to test humanity's resolve. High Resonator Quarks addresses the crystal spires of the Nexari homeworld. The humans destroyed 8 Vorton ships without damaging the vessels themselves. This technology intrigues us. We shall acquire it. A fleet of 30 Nexari ships approaches Earth's outer colonies. Unlike the Vortons, the Nexari don't make demands or threats. They simply begin harvesting human settlements like crops, using conversion beams to transform human colonists into crystal matrices for study. The U.S. Vengeance, commanded by Captain Rick Stone, arrives at New Geneva Colony to find half the population gone and the other half fleeing in terror. Captain, reports his science officer, the Nexari are using some kind of matter converter. They're turning our people into crystal formations, keeping them conscious during the process for research purposes. Stone's knuckles go white as he grips his command chair. How many? 50,000 so far, sir. The process appears to be extremely painful. On the view screen, they watch as Nexari ships methodically work through the colony. Families run screaming as blue beams lift them into the air, their bodies slowly crystallizing while they remain aware and terrified. A transmission comes from the lead Nexari vessel. Quarks's crystalline form appears, his color shifting in patterns that somehow convey amusement. Human vessel, do not interfere. We are conducting valuable research on your species' neural pathways during transformation. Your people's screams provide excellent data on pain response. Captain Stone stands slowly. Nexari ship, I'm asking you to stop this process and release our people. Asking? Quarks's crystal body flashes brighter. How wonderfully predictable. We declined your request. Your species makes excellent test subjects. Then I'm asking you again. Stop the conversion process and release our colonists. Again with the asking. This is why you were denied council membership. You ask instead of act. We refuse again. Perhaps we'll take your ship next for more comprehensive research. Stone's voice drops to barely above a whisper. Nexari's ship, I'm asking you one final time. Stop the conversion process. Reverse what you've done to our people and leave this system. Corks's laughter sounds like wind chimes in a hurricane. Or, what, Captain? You'll stop asking? We observed your Kepler incident. Some kind of neural disruptor, perhaps? Our crystalline biology is immune to such primitive weapons. We are beyond your ability to harm. The transmission cuts as the Nexari continue their horrific work. Captain Stone turns to his weapons officer. Lieutenant Park, deploy Prometheus. Protocol. Park looks up sharply. Sir, Prometheus protocol is ... Are you sure? The theoretical damage models are. They're torturing our people for science experiments, Stone interrupts. They're keeping them conscious while they turn them into crystal. Deploy Prometheus protocol. Authorization Stone Beta 99. Prometheus protocol deployed, Captain. The Vengeance's hull begins to reconfigure. Panels slide away to reveal something that had been hidden in the ship's core structure. A weapon that humanity had hoped never to use. What emerges looks deceptively simple. A single, smooth cylinder that begins to glow with inner light. The Nexari detect the energy buildup and assume it's some kind of primitive energy weapon. Their ship's crystal hulls can absorb and redirect any energy attack. They're not concerned. They should be. The weapon doesn't fire energy. It fires something much worse. A stream of exotic matter that destabilizes the strong nuclear force within. A limited area. The being reaches the first Nexari ship and passes through their shields without any interaction. The crystal hull begins to glow, then suddenly, catastrophically, the atomic bonds holding the crystalline structure together simply stop working. The ship doesn't explode. It doesn't burn. It simply ceases to exist as matter, its atoms separating into component particles that drift away like glowing dust. The other 29 Nexari ships watch in horror as their flagship dissolves into nothing. They try to flee, but the Vengeance's targeting system tracks each vessel with mechanical precision. One by one, the Nexari fleet turns to glowing dust, but the weapon's effect doesn't stop there. The exotic matter beam had been carefully calibrated. It spreads through space in an expanding sphere, its effects diminishing with distance, but still lethal to crystalline structures. The beam reaches the Nexari homeworld. Kyo RX and his entire species, billions of crystal beings who had existed for millions of years, feel their molecular bonds failing. In the span of 17 minutes, the entire Nexari collective dissolves into sparkling dust that drifts between their dead worlds. Captain Stone watches the tactical display as 30 ships and an entire species cease to exist. Sir, whispers. His communications officer were receiving surrender transmissions from 17 different species in nearby systems. They're all asking for mercy. Stone looks at the view screen, showing the empty space where the Nexari fleet had been. Send a message to the Galactic Council, he says quietly. Tell them humanity is still willing to show mercy, but only to those who deserve it. Asterisk, the destruction of the Nexari collective sends shockwaves through the galaxy. Emergency sessions. Convene on Alpha Prime as species after species demand answers from the Galactic Council. Chancellor, Brix stands before a chamber filled with terrified alien representatives. The confident mockery of months before has been replaced by barely controlled. Panic. Order. Order. Brix pounds his gavel repeatedly. The Council will address these concerns systematically. Ambassador Yeth of the Drakmor hegemony, a species known for consuming conquered populations, rises from his pod. Chancellor, an entire species is gone. Billions of Nexari, wiped out in minutes. Their homeworld is nothing but empty crystal dust, floating in space. The humans are clearly more dangerous than we assessed, adds Representative Zuhl from the Hive Minds. Our intelligence was catastrophically wrong. From across the chamber, voices rise in agreement and fear. Species that had laughed at humanity's mercy now face the terrifying reality of what happens when that mercy is withdrawn. Chancellor Brix tries to maintain control. We have deployed our finest analysts to study the destroyed Nexari vessels. Initial reports suggest some kind of exotic matter weapon that destabilizes atomic bonds. However, the energy requirements should be impossible for a species as primitive as... He's interrupted by an urgent transmission from the chamber's communication array. A holographic display materializes showing Admiral Cross standing on the bridge. Of the UES Defiance. Greetings, Galactic Council, Cross says calmly. I'm Admiral Lisa Cross of the Human Defense Fleet. I understand you have questions about recent events. The chamber falls silent. This is the first time a human has addressed the Council since Jake Rivers' rejected petition. Chancellor Brix recovers. His composure. Admiral Cross, your species has committed genocide against the Nexari Collective. This unprovoked attack, unprovoked? Cross interrupts. The Nexari were converting 50,000 of our colonists into crystal matrices while keeping them conscious and in agony for research purposes. They were torturing our people to death for scientific curiosity. That doesn't justify extinction. Shouts Representative YETH. Cross nods. You're right, it doesn't. Which is why we asked them to stop. 3 times, as is our custom. They refused. All 3 requests and continued torturing our people. So we stopped asking. A new voice joins the conversation. General Voss's replacement, General Krell of the Vorten Empire. Human, your weapons are impressive, but you cannot fight the entire galaxy. Surrender now and face judgment for your war crimes. Cross actually smiles. General Krell, I'm asking you not to threaten humanity. We've demonstrated what happens when we stop asking. Your parlor tricks won't work on a full battle fleet. Krell roars. I have 300 ships gathering at the edge of your solar system. Surrender or face annihilation. Then I'm asking you again, Cross says patiently. Do not attack human. Space. The Council watches this exchange with growing unease. They've seen this pattern before. I refuse. Krell declares. The Vorten Empire bows to no one, especially not to weak humans who hide behind secret weapons. Cross sighs. General Krell, I'm asking you one final time. Withdraw your fleet from our solar system and do not attack human space. Never. Krell screams. My fleet will burn your worlds to ash. We'll show the galaxy what happens to species who dare challenge their betters. The transmission from Krell cuts as he presumably rushes to lead his attack. Cross looks directly at Chancellor Brix. The general has made his choice. You might want to watch what happens next. Long-range sensors throughout the chamber activate, showing the edge of human space where 300 Vorten ships prepare for invasion. The aliens watch as the massive fleet moves toward Earth's outer defenses. Then something emerges from behind. Earth's moon dot, it's a ship, but unlike anything the galaxy has seen. Massive beyond comprehension, its hull black as space itself, its surface covered in structures that seem to bend light around them. What is that? Whispers someone in the chamber. Cross. Glances at something off-screen. That's the U's Ragnarok. We built her after the first time aliens attacked us. We hoped never to use her. The Ragnarok moves through space with impossible grace for something so large. As it approaches the Vorten fleet, weapon systems activate along its hull, not the exotic matter weapons used against the Nexari, but something else entirely. The space around the Vorten fleet begins to ... change. Reality itself seems to ripple and bend. The 300 ships find themselves trapped in a bubble of altered spacetime. We call it a causality disruptor, CROSS, explains to the horrified council. It doesn't destroy matter like the Prometheus weapon. Instead, it makes it so the target never existed in the first place. The effect propagates backward through time, erasing the target from history itself. The Vorten fleet flickers once, then vanishes. Not destroyed, not vaporized, simply gone, as if they had never been built, never been crewed, never been launched. Cross turns back to the Council. Humanity is still willing to negotiate. We still prefer peace, but we will defend ourselves with whatever means necessary. The choice of how this proceeds is yours. The transmission ends, leaving the Council in stunned silence. 1 year after the Ragnarok incident, the galaxy has changed forever. The Galactic Council chamber on Alpha Prime looks very different now. Instead of floating pods arranged in a circle of equality, human representatives sit at a raised platform while alien ambassadors occupy lower positions. Ambassador Jake Rivers, the same human who had been mocked and dismissed a year before, now serves as the Galactic Coordinator. The irony isn't lost on anyone present. The Council recognizes Ambassador Vex of the remaining Drakmor systems. Jake announces, a much smaller, humbler version of the once proud Drakmor representative approaches the speaking platform. Coordinator Rivers, my people wish to formally apologize for our previous ... misjudgments about humanity. We request permission to establish trade relations. Jake nods thoughtfully. The Drakmor hegemony previously conquered 17 species and used their populations as food sources. What assurance can you give that this behavior will cease? We have already begun releasing all conquered populations and providing reparations, Vex says quickly. We've also dismantled our conquest fleets and converted them to medical and supply vessels. Very good. Trade relations approved. Pending inspection of your liberation efforts. This scene repeats throughout the session. Species after species that had once laughed at human mercy now beg for human consideration. The galaxy's former oppressors compete to demonstrate their newfound commitment to peace and cooperation. During a recess, Chancellor Brix approaches Jake privately. The once arrogant reptilian leader now appears aged and weary. Coordinator Rivers. Brix says quietly, I must ask, was this always your plan? Did humanity deliberately appear weak to lure us into revealing our true nature? Jake considers the question carefully. No, Chancellor. We genuinely hoped for peaceful integration. We really did want to join the galactic community as equals, sharing knowledge and resources for mutual benefit. Then why the deception? Why hide your true military capabilities? Jake walks to a viewing port overlooking space. We didn't hide them, Chancellor. We simply didn't mention them. You never asked what humanity was capable of. You only looked at what we chose to do. I don't understand the distinction. The distinction, Jake explains, is that mercy is a choice made from a position of strength, not weakness. A parent doesn't refrain from harming a child because they're unable to. They refrain because they choose not to. When you mistook our mercy for inability, you made a fatal error in judgment. Brix's scales seem to dim, but surely you could have warned us. Given us some indication? Jake turns to face him. We did. I told this council explicitly that mercy was the leash we put on ourselves. I told you what would happen if we took that leash off. You laughed. We thought you were bluffing. We never bluff, Chancellor. When humans make a threat, it's because we've already decided we're willing to follow through. We just prefer not to. The conversation is interrupted by an aide bringing urgent news. Coordinator Rivers, we've received first contact signals from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're requesting permission to open diplomatic relations. Jake raises an eyebrow. Andromeda? That's interesting. What's their initial message? The aide reads from his tablet. Quote, The Andromedan Collective greets the legendary Human Federation with utmost respect. We have observed your recent actions in the Milky Way and wish to establish peaceful relations. We come in friendship and offer tribute as appropriate for a superior power." End quote. Brix looks confused. How could they know about recent events? Andromeda is millions of light years away. Jake smiles grimly. News travels fast when entire species vanish from existence. The Nexari had research stations in several galaxies. When they suddenly ceased to exist across all realities, other civilizations noticed. The causality disruptor doesn't just erase things from our timeline, Chancellor. It erases them from all timelines, everywhere. The Vorten Empire never existed anywhere in the universe. The Nexari Collective was retroactively removed from the entire cosmos. Brix sits down heavily, the full implications hitting him. The entire universe knows what humanity is capable of. Jake nods. And now they're all being very polite about it. The session resumes with Jake addressing the assembled representatives. Before we continue, I want to make something clear to all species present and listening. Humanity didn't want this position. We asked to join as equals, to share and learn together. That offer was rejected. He pauses, looking around the chamber. But we've learned to work with the situation we were given. We will govern fairly, protect the innocent, and ensure peace throughout the galaxy. We will show mercy to those who deserve it and justice to those who don't. However, his voice grows quiet, but somehow more commanding. Let no one mistake our mercy for weakness ever again. We are still the same species that asked 3 times before acting. We still prefer peace to war, cooperation to conquest, mercy to vengeance. Jake's eyes seem to look beyond the chamber, beyond the station, beyond the galaxy itself. But we are also the species that silenced the stars when mercy was rejected. Remember that, and choose your actions accordingly. The galaxy listens and remembers, and chooses very carefully indeed. The End Asterisk.